Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, Cynicalex, and as I predicted, we got the second sneak peek for the upcoming Spider and Symbiote update, and it's not Toxin, it's not Carnage, it's not Venom, it's actually Ice Cream. No, it's just Scream, but you know what I mean? I scream, you scream, we all scream for Scream, the symbiote. Symbiotes everywhere are beginning to rampage. I love to hear that in my sneak peeks for Halloween. When there's an update right around the corner from October 31st. So yes, one in particular has made a striking reappearance. Will she stand as another alien villain or our greatest protector? Alien villain sounds like an ancient symbiote known as Null. So yeah, give me some Null, please. Anywho, can you hear the scream? Fun fact, Scream, the symbiote, doesn't scream. I mean, any symbiote can scream, I guess. They can yell, but she doesn't use sonic powers. She doesn't have sonic powers. She doesn't scream as part of her sort of abilities. Like, it's not one of her extra abilities. It's actually really funny. If you think Scream, you think Black Bolt because of the sound waves. But Scream is actually more like Medusa, who uses her hair to fight. So it's actually a really interesting, confusing way of naming the character. Like, it's like naming the character Knife, but they're shaped like a spoon. Why a character would be shaped like a spoon, I don't know, but it's almost midnight and I'm usually asleep, not making sneak peek videos anymore, so forgive me if I'm a little goofy. Prepare yourselves, goofier than usual. Yuck. Prepare yourselves for the hair-raising powers of Scream. Please welcome our new hero, Mick. Okay, so let's go and check out the sneak peek. Here we go. We've got sort of like a loading dock outdoor scenario. You hear the police sirens again, which I think indicates Toxin. Well, I didn't point it out originally, but someone did. It's pretty loud. Scream warning. Okay, so again, you hear the police sirens. We go into the loading dock, and you will see that there are there's like a wall with yellow and red squares. The red squares are interesting. It looks a bit disco-y. You see what looks like a symbiote on the ground, and then it jumps out at you and it screams. Again, Scream doesn't actually scream, but anyways. What I want you to pay attention to here is there's another clue. It's the hooks, the meat hooks. These look like meat hooks, or hooks in general. That's very important for absolute carnage, okay? Follow me? So over on Twitter, there isn't actually a lot of text. It just says, this symbiote has donned many hosts. In the V650 update, her scream will be the last thing you hear. This doesn't seem like much unless you've read the entirety of the Absolute Carnage run, because in that run, Scream actually makes an appearance. And so I already talked about the meat hooks, and I'll show you what I mean in the panels. But without spoiling too much, this Scream symbiote actually jumps hosts 2 times, inhabiting a total of 3 different hosts before, finally landing on Andy Benton, who is the host that now has Scream in the comics. So we're gonna jump now to, this is Scream. This is what Scream looks like, okay? And so yeah, you can see Scream is doing some nice things with her spaghetti-like hair to this guy's face, and she's sort of mummifying this other guy. This is how Scream attacks. She actually uses her hair to attack. She doesn't actually scream, which is weird because her name is Scream. I know, it's confusing. It's confusing for me, but anywho, that's Scream. Now, why does this pertain, or why are we talking about Carnage when we talk about Scream? Well, let's go find Carnage first before we get ahead of ourselves too much. Where in the, okay, there's Carnage. Okay, so if we go over to the Absolute Carnage run, and remember those chains, those hooks in the sneak peek, you will see there's Scream there. You will see that Carnage and Scream actually engage in a lot of fights, and there's chains around them. These are not Ghost Rider chains, believe it or not. And if you see here, this is Andy Benton. This is the latest host for Scream. Scream's actually fighting to protect, well, she's fighting to kill Carnage, but she's also fighting to protect Andy. Andy is actually on one of the hooks, which is kind of a bummer because that probably hurts. And then here you can see, really cool drawing, by the way, you can see visibly the hooks. You can see one of them behind her right there. That is one of the hooks that looks dead. It's a deadly accurate representation of the one in the sneak peek. So basically what ends up happening, Scream wins. Scream doesn't die. She doesn't get beaten by Carnage yet. And she ends up hooking Carnage to one of the meat hooks and then slamming him into a meat locker. So there's some really cool panels between Scream and Carnage. She looks really awesome. She looks like a venomized version of Medusa, basically. So it shouldn't be too difficult for the devs to use a lot of the same sort of animation. Guys, Carnage feet, by the way. It shouldn't be too difficult for the devs to use a lot of the animations that they used for Medusa to sort of recreate things for Scream. They can copy and paste a lot of it because of the fact that they fight in a very similar style. And, you know, Medusa turns her hair into spikes and stuff like that. And you can clearly see that, or she like wraps it around. And that's very similar to Scream's style of attack. There's some really cool panels. This actually doesn't have anything to do with the character. This is just really cool. And you've got the sort of the clones. Those are the I don't know if they're called the Annihilation clones. I can't remember what they're called. But anyways, Carnage's clones that he sends around. They look like the symbiotes in what's it called? Contest of Champions. So anyways, we're getting Scream. She's probably going to play pretty similarly to Medusa since she uses her hair. Well, I actually never noticed the transition on her hair from the stationary look is so strange. Her hair goes back into like a ponytail. That's so funny. So her hair's like out and then boop, it goes back into a ponytail, and you can see like the resolution on the hair does drop. That's okay. It's actually really, the model looks really good here. So just imagine this, but like symbiote tendrils, right? So she's going to do something similar to Medusa, and she's probably going to play similarly. If she has a similar power level to Medusa, that will be something to look out for. But we know for sure we're getting Spider-Woman and now Scream. So 2 female characters, 1 female speed type hero, and 1 combat hero. Now, there's the thing. Despite the fact that Scream was originally created in a lab to protect the wealthy, and she actually fights against Venom and Spider-Man, so she's sort of like a bad guy along with the other 5 sort of genetically forced to be born and genetically age-accelerated symbiotes, she is a hero, at least from where they're drawing it from, because we know now that it has to be Absolute Carnage because of the meat hooks. The meat hooks was a dead giveaway for Absolute Carnage, and in that, Carnage is the bad guy. Venom's not the bad guy. Scream's not the bad guy. Carnage is the bad guy. So because Carnage and Null. So because of that, Scream is going to be a hero. The only piece of advice I can give you right now, especially for you ABX players, is maybe don't invest too heavily, if you haven't already invested too heavily, in Red She-Hulk, because there's a possibility that if Scream gets an awakening skill, if there's like a triple awakening skill with Carnage, Scream, and I don't know, somebody else, Toxin or something, that they're going to take over and replace Crescent and replace, well, Red She-Hulk has already replaced Crescent, but replace Crescent and Red She-Hulk, because they've been releasing characters lately that have the burn. She has burn, but that have the burn, paralysis, and the silence. Now, she's only got the burn, not the paralysis or the stun, so look out for that. That's pure speculation on my part, by the way, purely speculation. But it should be very interesting to see what we get as far as Scream is concerned. Now, we usually only get 2 characters per update. That is usually how the sort of the development shakes out. We could only be seeing Scream and Spider-Woman, but my sort of intuition, my gut is telling me that we're going to be seeing at least 1 more character. I would personally love it to be Null. If it's Toxin, if it's somebody else, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of those characters, and also let me know what you think of Scream, because I think this is a bit out of left field, to be honest, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about Medusa. She also uses her hair. She's a combat female. If you look at the combat class, and then you look at how many females we have very few female combat characters, very few. It's like less than a dozen. And the ones that we have are not that impressive. Kamala just got a recent rework and she's great. Red She-Hulk's great. She-Hulk got a new uniform and she's great. Minerva's already kind of slowing down a little bit. But if you look up at the top there's no tier 3 combat females. There's no awakened combat females. And then you go down below Red She-Hulk and She-Hulk, and you've got what? Valkyrie, who's support only, White Fox, Sif, Jessica Jones, America Chavez, Titania. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel with those 5, right? So it's definitely looking like it's going to be not only a female-centric update, but also a combat-centric update, which I'm here for. I'm 100% here for a combat-centric and themed update, because you know how much I love the combat types. So yeah, let me know what you think of Scream, who doesn't actually scream. She's got all the other typical powers and weaknesses. She's actually weak to sonic powers, which is funny because her name is Scream, and she's weak to sound like the other symbiotes and fire. But yeah, let me know what you think of her. And yeah, hopefully we'll see very, very soon. Hopefully tomorrow night or tonight, whatever, what the next sneak peek is. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.